They expected your tears. They wanted to see you broken, shattered, crawling on the floor like a soul stripped of all hope. They whispered behind your back, plotting your downfall, feeding off the idea of your misery. Because that's what they crave, to feel superior by watching you drown in sorrow. But let me ask you this, are you really going to give them what they want? Every time you stumbled, they laughed. Every time you fell, they cheered. And every time you stood up again, they hid their envy behind fake smiles. Their whole game was to break your spirit. They expected your tears to flow endlessly, a river of your own pain. For their satisfaction, they thought they'd see you crumble into dust. But here's the truth. They never expected your silence. They never expected you to stand, stone-faced, unaffected by their attempts to crush you. Silence is more terrifying than any scream, more powerful than any plea for mercy. It unnerves them, confuses them, because tears they understand. But strength? That shakes them to their core. They'll push you, test your limits. They'll play the victim while they're the villain. They'll paint you as heartless, call you cold, and blame you for their misery. But what they fail to realize is that you've transformed. The old version of you, the one they could hurt, manipulate, and control, is gone. That person died in the fire of their betrayals. What stands in their place now is someone they can't predict, someone they can't control. They expected tears. You gave them scars. Remember when they said you weren't good enough? When they doubted you, belittled you, laughed at your dreams? Those words were meant to stick, meant to wound you so deeply that you'd never rise. But instead, they forged you. Every insult, every lie, it became armor. And the more they tried to break you, the stronger you became. The world is full of people like them, those who thrive on others' pain. They hide behind masks of concern, pretending to care, while their real intent is to keep you down. But what happens when the mask falls? What happens when their own insecurities are laid bare? They'll call you ruthless for surviving. They'll label you cruel for not shedding the tears they so desperately wanted. But let them, because the truth is, your strength terrifies them. They see in you what they'll never achieve. They see resilience, power, and a refusal to be broken. And that shakes them to their core. You don't need their approval. You don't need their sympathy. What you need is to keep walking forward, head held high, without looking back, because that's what truly destroys them. Seeing you thrive, seeing you rise above, without giving them the satisfaction of your suffering. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your journey is the moment you reclaim your power. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them your tears. Let them wonder. Let them fear. Because that's what happens when they realize they've lost control. Their biggest weapon, your emotions, is no longer in their hands. And now, all they have left is their own misery. You've learned to silence the noise, to walk in your truth without being swayed by their opinions. That, right there, is your greatest revenge. To live boldly, unapologetically, and without the burden of their judgments. To show them that you're unshaken, even when the world expects you to fall. In their eyes, you're a monster for not breaking. But in reality, you're free. And freedom? That's something they'll never understand. They'll remain trapped in their own small worlds, forever bound by the chains of their insecurities and bitterness. But you've risen above. You've outgrown their games. They expected your tears, but you gave them silence. They wanted your defeat, but you stood unyielding. They hoped for your downfall, but you showed them what it means to be unstoppable. So, remember this. Every time they try to tear you down, every time they expect you to fall, give them nothing. No tears, no explanations, no apologies. Because the most powerful statement you can ever make is to keep walking forward, in silence, in strength, in defiance.